The chorus of Democrats abandoning the US president appears to be growing rapidly this morning, with the Washington Post reporting Barack Obama has questioned Joe Biden's continued candidacy. Mr. Biden is in isolation at his home in Delaware with a fresh bout of COVID.
In the coming hours, all eyes will be on Donald Trump as the former president formally accepts the Republican nomination. North America Bureau Chief Jade McMillan is at the Republican convention in Milwaukee, and Michael is, of course, following developments with Joe Biden in Washington. Michael, we'll start with you. So who is the latest, or who are the latest, to lose faith in Joe Biden?
Well, Emma, since we spoke yesterday, the Democratic dam wall has well and truly broken. In quick succession, reports or revelations that the likes of Senate leader Chuck Schumer, the House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries and other senior Democrats have either approached Mr. Biden directly or through conduits and told him to seriously consider his bid for re-election in November. But the biggest boot to drop, as you mentioned, was former President Barack Obama. The Washington Post has a firmly sourced report saying that Mr. Obama has told allies of his, and we assume therefore allies of his former Vice President, that Joe Biden should reconsider the viability of his candidacy. Mr. Obama reportedly saying he sees a shrinking path to victory for Joe Biden. Let's not forget, these two men worked very closely together with Mr. Obama President, Joe Biden Vice President. And it has to be said, Mr. Obama's silence ever since that dismal debate performance by Joe Biden 3 weeks ago has spoken volumes. Mr. Biden himself revealed in one of those interviews recently that he'd only spoken to Mr. Obama once since the debate. But now it appears the former president, still a very popular figure in the Democratic Party, believes time is up for Joe Biden. Mr. Biden himself is laying low. He still is suffering from COVID. The White House doctor gave us a brief update today saying that the president has no fever. He's otherwise well, but still has some respiratory issues. Nobody from the White House communications team has popped up, but we did hear today from the White House National Security Council spokesman, John Kirby, and he was asked about Mr. Obama's reported comments.
I can't confirm or speak to reports that you're alluding to in terms of what former officials may or may not be talking to allies about. I think the way I'd approach this is just based on, our experience last week at the NATO summit, where leader after leader approached President Biden and thanked him for his leadership. I think it was on display for everybody to see. The president's approach to alliances and partnerships not only is appreciated and respected around the world, it's needed. And he has every expectation that he'll continue to lead in that regard.
So that's the official line still from the White House, Emma. Mr. Biden is a respected figure. He's done a great job. He should continue. But the pressure is mounting almost by the hour. The airwaves here today have been full of Democratic senators, Democratic House members saying that, yes, while Mr. Biden has done a great job in their view, the decision is now his. And repeatedly, the line is they know he will do what's best in the country. We even have the Axios political newsletter, which is widely read in the political class here in Washington, saying the pressure is building up so quickly that Mr. Biden could drop out of the presidential race as soon as this weekend.
Gee, well, Michael, as all that is happening, we've got such a contrast in Milwaukee. Jade, you're at the Republican National Convention, a very noisy convention this morning. Donald Trump is going to be speaking there today. So what can we expect from his speech?
Yeah, look, we've got rehearsals taking place behind me at the moment, so hopefully you can still hear me over the music. But Donald Trump has said that he rewrote his speech coming at the end of this four-day convention in the wake of the attempted assassination in Pennsylvania over the weekend. He has suggested that he's going to use it to call for unity. Now, we have seen attempts to try to soften the former president's image so far at this convention in Milwaukee. We heard from Donald Trump's granddaughter last night, who argued that he's, to her, just a normal grandpa. All eyes today, as well as being on the former president, of course, will also be looking to see whether his wife, Melania Trump, makes an appearance. She did issue a statement after the shooting, but she's been largely absent from the campaign so far. Now, we've also heard today from Donald Trump's daughter-in-law, Lara Trump, who is also the co-chair of the Republican National Committee. She had this to say about what we could expect.
I think you may see a bit of a different version of Donald Trump tonight, perhaps a bit softer version than maybe some of the people at home have seen in the past. And maybe that allows them to open themselves up to actually what he's saying. And if you look back at the policies that Donald Trump had his first 4 years in the White House and the things that he will continue to talk about tonight that he wants to do in the future, they're policies that impact everyone's life positively.
Now, that sort of shift in tone would be quite a departure for Donald Trump. It is not the type of tone that we are used to hearing from the former president at his campaign events. At that rally in Pennsylvania, for example, before the shooting took place, he was repeating his unfounded claims that the 2020 election had been stolen. He was highly critical of Joe Biden and his Vice President Kamala Harris, using the nicknames that he has for them, and saying that the United States was going to hell. So we will see how this speech unfolds. It has been set down for 90 minutes. We do have a sense, at least, of how part of the night is going to go. The national anthem is being rehearsed at the moment, but a bit earlier, the musician Kid Rock was on stage rehearsing. It sounds as though he has a song that has been tailor-made for this event. The chorus was largely fight, fight, fight. Those words that Donald Trump now famously said on stage just after the attempted assassination.
Well, Jade, speaking of that attempted assassination, pressure keeps building over the security failures at last weekend's rally.
Yeah, that's right. As we've been talking about all week, there are multiple investigations into what happened. The FBI is yet to reveal anything publicly about what might have motivated the 20-year-old gunman. But pressure is also building on the Secret Service, the agency that is tasked with protecting former presidents and presidential candidates. And there was an extraordinary scene here at the convention last night when a group of Republican senators confronted the director of the Secret Service. The senator from Tennessee, Marsha Blackburn, could be heard shouting, "You owe the American people answers, you owe Donald Trump answers." And a spokesman for Donald Trump's campaign has today added his voice to calls for the director of the Secret Service to resign.
Okay, we just saw some of those pictures there, Jade.